Welcome, movie fans. Thanks for joining us for episode 133 of Reading Between the Reels, the premier podcast of staring into the void and hoping it's a tesseract. If you're a new listener, we're so glad you found us. If you've been enjoying the show, please like, follow, and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can also support the show by posting on our socials and by joining our Facebook group. I'm Craig Dickinson. I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Corey Heidschmidt. Justin's out tonight, but he should be back soon. Corey, how's it going, dude?
Mm-hmm. I am doing great. Full disclosure, I didn't finish this movie because it's another 2.5-hour movie by Christopher Nolan.
Stop it.
So, I'm just kidding. Okay, but I had to throw that out there.
And you can hear, we have some guests today. You can hear some giggling in the background. We're also joined by Jeff McGee and Pam Johnston of the Audio Advent Calendar podcast tonight. So what's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, we're doing well. Thanks for having us on. And if those of you out there are going, the what? That's because our podcast has yet to actually be released. We'll be talking about that a bit later in the show.
For sure.
It's funny you mentioned that you hadn't finished it yet. Some of my friends have a joke about the movie Zodiac, that nobody's ever seen it all the way through because he's still making it and it's still going because the movie just seems so long. So every time I say, I watched Zodiac the other day, you mean you watched part of Zodiac the other day.
The update.
You're just trying to catch up, aren't you? Just what season you on?
Exactly.
Nice.
Right.
And I'll apologize if you hear the dogs hacking in the background. One of our dogs doesn't know how to drink properly, and so every time he takes a drink, I don't know if you can hear him, but...
Yeah, just a little snort.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's great. It's a lot of fun at 4 o'clock in the morning, too.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, so one thing we like to do before we get really into the movie we're going to do is we like to just talk about like one or two things that you've been watching, either movies or TV this week. So, Pam, Jeff, what have you guys been watching?
We watched Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
I've heard good things.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, Craig, I was going to say, if you guys ever discuss any Del Toro movies and you don't have Pam on, she might hunt you down.
Keep that in
we
mind.
actually went to see it in the theater a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
And the hype is earned. Everything you've heard is accurate. It is wonderful.
Awesome.
I've seen some clips on TikTok and it looks amazing.
It is. It's on Netflix now, so no reason for anybody to not watch it.
Cool.
We also watched Risky Business for the first time in about 20 years the other night.
Classic.
That was fun.
Movie holds up. Movie is a lot deeper than you remember.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on.
I watched it last year. Yeah.
Did he have shades when he does his little hallway dance?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the Ray-Bans.
Isn't that like one of those little effect things, Mandela effects, is whether or not he has sunglasses?
I'm pretty sure he does. Maybe he doesn't. Actually, he doesn't.
I don't think so.
He does not.
He wears the glasses later.
So,
Yeah.
wears them later. Yeah, we're watching that scene, and Pam, of course, goes, "You recreated this when you were a kid, didn't you?" And I said, "Sort of. I actually recreated it with the music from Footloose, and I recreated the sequence of Willard trying to learn how to dance one night when my parents were gone when I was about 10 years old."
So technically, you did not recreate.
But you're right. No, he was not wearing the Ray-Bans in that sequence.
Was not.
Good call.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, what about you? What have you been watching?
So I've been laid up with a knee surgery, and so I'm just binging a lot of stuff. But I'm going to tell you, I have been knee-deep in two things this week. One, the movie or the TV show Timeless. I started watching that again. I never actually finished it when it came out, and I love this show. I am absolutely more enthralled now. I'm about 3 episodes away from finishing the whole thing, and it's beautiful because Flynn goes from the villain in the first season to the anti-hero in the second season, you know, and it's well done, well written, some great history stuff, and some what ifs. The timelines and the paradoxes have me freaking out. I don't know. And then the other thing I watched was Shazam. I watched that movie again because, one, I love Shazam. I absolutely think this movie is incredible. And there's a scene in there, and the relevance for this, I'm going to try and keep this quick. So I have a son, and we adopted him when he was a baby. And so this last week we were talking about his birth parents and, you know, this how he was adopted. And he's known his whole life he's adopted, but just out of the blue, he'll ask questions once in a while. So we talked about that this week, and it got me thinking about the movie Shazam because I remember this scene specifically. In the beginning of Shazam, Billy Batson is at the carnival with his mom, and she's throwing darts trying to win him a bear, and she's missing. She's not good. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm trying so hard. It's beautiful, warm winter day. Like it's winter. there's like snow and ice, but it's warm. Her hat's white, and her hair is so beautiful, and makeup's nice, and it's very lighthearted and very warm, friendly. Exact same scene comes up at the end of the movie when Billy meets his birth mom. And it's the exact same scene, exact same lyrics, exact same angles, everything, except it's dirtier. Her hat is not white. It's actually like a dusty brown, like kind of an older one. Her hair is not as bright. It's actually got some darker stuff in it, a little more dirty blonde. And she's a little more annoyed in her whole comment. She says, "Oh, I'm not a professional here." She's more annoyed, like, "Oh, I'm not a professional here." Like real short. And it just shows the beauty of, we may remember one scene or something one way, and then someone else remembers it the actual way or another way. And it's two different things, but the exact same perspective. And so it's powerful. And so I've watched that because of this notion of what my perceptions are and what his perceptions are in this whole thing. And so that movie popped up in my mind this week, so I had to watch it. Zachary Levi is incredible, and I love him. I think he would fit in a Snyderverse or a Gunverse, either one. I'll take him because I think he was so incredible in that role. So
Shazam is one of my favorite superheroes, and that movie was exactly the Shazam movie I wanted. And we enjoyed the second one too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Especially at the end when the little girl goes, "Taste the rainbow," and it cuts right before she finishes the phrase.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
That's fun.
I need more of that. He said he's up for doing it again. I saw an interview this week, so
That second one tanked so hard, though. I think they're probably done with Shazam for a while. Here's some trivia, though. Do you know who the original Shazam character was modeled on? Which actor?
Ooh.
no.
I do not, but I want to know.
Fred McMurray, of all people.
Oh,
the
really?
absent-minded professor.
Absent-minded
Nice.
professor, so.
If you go back and look at old drawings, the old original comics, you can absolutely see it. I have an Alex Ross Shazam action figure, and it looks just like Fred McMurray.
Nice.
Oh, it does. My God.
That's fun. That's fun. Well, I have been on a bit of a Quentin Tarantino kick.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but I
Because he's awesome.
well, yeah. I started a while back, and then I stopped because I did not have Inglourious Bastards yet, and so I rewatched that. I'd only seen it once and thoroughly enjoyed that. And before I got even deeper into the catalog, I went back and watched True Romance, which is not directed by him, but it's written by him, and I'd never seen it. And
That's a great movie, too.
I did not like it, Jeff. I really didn't. I
Nobody's perfect.
No.
It's very much of its time.
Yeah,
It
you
is.
know, I'm not a really big Christian Slater guy.
Well, that explains
I
it.
think
then,
that's
yeah.
a lot of it. And then when you watch the opening credits, they're like, and this guy's in it, and this guy's in it, and this guy's in it. And I'm like, oh my smokes, look at this cast. And, a lot of them are in there for like 5 minutes. Like Samuel L. Jackson's in one scene. Gary Oldman's barely in it. I was like, Val Kilmer's in this? Great. Where? I can't find. And then I was like, oh, he's there. Okay. Yes.
He was an extra.
Basically. Yes, the Christopher Walken Dennis Hopper scene is as advertised. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I was like, give me more. It was almost like it was an anthology in the way that the movie was set up, with just
I can
all
see
this-
that.
So I didn't like that much. But what I did really like, and I've talked to you about this on Facebook already, Jeff, is Jackie Brown, which I had not seen since it first came out. And what I think is really interesting is watching that as a 22-year-old versus a almost 50-year-old is an entirely different experience.
Yep.
Because I watched it as a young man and was just like, okay, whatever, it's not Pulp Fiction, which is what I was like, I want it to be Pulp Fiction, and it wasn't. And watching it like at my age now, I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm roughly the same age as Samuel L. Jackson's character. And Jackie Brown, I'm like, yeah, I get it. And wow, she is attractive. Like, as a 22-year-old, like, that's an old woman. And now I'm like, yeah,
Nope.
I totally get it. Robert Forster,
Even when
I'm
I was
right with you.
22, even when I was 22, I was all in on Pam Grier in that movie.
So I've
I've got a man crush on Max Cherry anyway.
Very
Robert
cool.
Forster's character.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite film performances in any movie ever.
It's very good. And I've come to the point where I can appreciate the slow burn in a movie. Like I don't need it to go fast. Like I'm going to watch those character beats. I love that stuff. And so I've wizened, I guess, softened a little bit in my old age, and I like that kind of stuff a little bit more. So
That was
I
Elmore
was ready to
Leonard's
watch
favorite
it.
adaptation of his work as well.
That's cool. And I just love the whole, like, Michael Keaton plays, that Nicolette and Out of Sight. I seen Out of Sight first.
Yeah.
No, I guess I saw that after because they were released differently. I'm like, hey, it's like there's a shared universe in these two movies, which is pretty fun. So, beyond Tarantino, though, we're not talking about Tarantino anymore. We are going to talk about Interstellar. We started last time, and we're going to dig back into Interstellar. We talked a little bit about the cinematography and the sound. It started on performances a little bit, and we left off with dialogue. And I wanted to give everybody an opportunity. If you have any other lines of dialogue that just stick out to you as important or just funny or cool, does anybody have any lines that they want to share before we dig a little bit more into performances?
You know what's funny to me? Nolan movies always have... I always like the dialogue, but I never come away remembering any of it. The thing that I always impressed with Nolan is he's able to explain really difficult concepts in a way that makes sense. Pam and I are the only people I know that actually understood Tenet the first time we saw it, or at least we think we did.
Yeah.
Enough to get through it. And so for me, I can't think of any specific line of dialogue other than just I'm always so impressed with the way his scripts, they're almost like explainer videos about the concepts he's talking about. And this one, just the way, anytime I had a question about something, almost immediately the next scene it would explain it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of verbal or dialogue exposition, which normally I don't like. I want you to show me and not tell me. Mm-hmm. But here it really works. You've got Anne Hathaway's character, who is a scientist, speaking to Matthew McConaughey's character, who is also a scientist, and they're brainstorming, looking for a way out, a way to get away from the planet.
Yeah.
And so they're doing all this technical jargon back and forth. They both know all of this information, but because they're brainstorming together, the exposition works for us because they're explaining it to us instead of showing it. So, yeah.
You've got a point because they do that when they talk about the wormhole and how it works in bending space-time, and he creates the little image and shows him with the paper and the pen going through it. Mm-hmm. And it's very much just we better explain this to the people because there's no way he got on that spaceship not understanding that concept. Having been a fighter pilot, worked for NASA, he knew this, but they're like, we better explain this for the audience because they don't understand what this means. 3 dimensions, circle, sphere, anyway. So, yeah, that's a great point. They explain and show and do it at the same time. So, if I was going to go for a line, I've got two. I got one here that I got to point out because as a teacher, I think this is one of the best lines in there. So Cooper's talking to the principal. And Cooper says, "You're ruling my son out for college now. The kid's 15." He says, "Tom's score is simply not high enough." And he goes, "What's your waistline? 32 with what? 33 inseam?" And he says, "I'm not sure what you're getting at." The best line.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
You're telling me, I'm sorry, I get a little advert. I'm going to say the word here, Craig. You're telling me it takes 2 numbers to measure your own ass, but only 1 to measure my son's future? And
great.
I love this line because as a teacher, I often look and I'm like, these kids are above 1 score. They're above 1 grade. They're above 1 assignment. And sometimes we get so heavy-handed into grades and assignments and scores that we forget there's more to measure here than just this 1 score. It takes 2 to measure your own ass. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah, I had that too.
And I did think of one. I did think of one line that sticks out to me. I'm not a parent, but everybody I know is. I am sort of a grandparent now. But Cooper has a line. He says, "Once you're a parent, you're the ghost of your children's future." Mm-hmm. Like every once in a while, there'll be one of those little whoa moments in a Nolan movie. But for the most part, what I come away with is remembering concepts instead of individual lines.
Yeah, we touched on that briefly last time and talked about how that is a little bit of foreshadowing too. So I'm glad that you brought that up. It's a great line. Well, any other performance stuff we want to touch on, whether body language, facial expression stuff? I have a few things, or costumes, hair, makeup, and I'll just let you just jump in as you can think of some things.
We saw it. We saw the movie. I did not see this when it came out. I probably didn't see this until about 4 or 5 years ago for the first time. Then when they re-released it in IMAX, either late last year or early part of this year, we went to see it. And I was struck by Michael Caine's character anytime he was leaving something out or just abjectly lying, when you know going into it, you can kind of tell because his character is giving you those tells. That's just something that a professional like Michael Caine can do and make it look effortless.
Yes.
But between that and anytime McConaughey cries in any movie, I always believe it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think McConaughey, I'm just going to say, that guy, he is the film's soul. Like, he is the messages, the tears, the grit throughout the movie. He's talking about things with the highest minds of NASA, but then he's also saying things like, with TARS, understanding how to work with them. Hey, you want to take it down to 65, slick? Like, and he has a way of talking to every single person, the greatest minds to a machine, to understanding humor, wit, sarcasm, everything. And then, like you said, I mean, when he gets into the emotion of everything and making decisions, I mean, Matthew McConaughey, I think, is the soul of this. And then I think Murph is the heart of this because of her passion and her wonder throughout the whole thing.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I think watching his breakdown while he was watching Murph's video logs, one of the most human moments ever captured on film. I think just watching him watch her life just progress while he is in space and missing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Justin's not here, but I want to make sure that he's here in spirit. We talked about this at lunch a little bit. It's a shame that scene has been memed to death because it is so great,
right?
That we kind of forget, or we go, it's just that silly thing. It's been spliced together with other reaction videos and stuff, but it is that good.
It is.
One thing that I noticed this time that I don't think I'd quite paid attention to enough is when Coop says goodbye to Murph and he's like, don't make me leave this way or whatever. And then he finally leaves and he's in the truck crying. She runs out the door to say goodbye. She ultimately changes her mind and wants to say goodbye, but doesn't get that chance. And I was just like, man, that's so heart-wrenching that she's now going to think he's abandoned her.
Yeah.
Well, I was more heart-wrenched on his side.
Yeah.
Same.
Because he left with the notion that's how she wanted to leave it, not she chased after me.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I know, and that hurts. That hurts a little bit.
It's awful. It's awful in the best way.
My mama's heart just kind of broke quite a bit.
Oh, goodness.
And then I got to go with this other performance. I got this last one I marked. Matt Damon and his betrayal hit me. It is like a brick in the head because, one, it's Matt Damon. I love Matt Damon. Who doesn't, right? I mean, he's incredible. And so you're like, oh, man, Matt Damon's in the movie. He's a big name, big guy. He's got to be something important in here. And then he's just a traitor. And I was so mad. And so Christopher Nolan, he's the good guy. He's Matt Damon. And it's like he weaponized Matt Damon and the good guy aspect that this guy wouldn't let us down. Yeah, he will. He's the traitor, and we're going to turn against him. And so
he'll let you down big time.
Gosh.
Nice.
That's because they weren't there to rescue him, and Matt Damon only ever gets rescued.
Yeah.
And I always get these two movies, that and The Martian, conflated because they're so close. Like, I think Martian's like the next year, and like Jessica Chastain's in that one too. And we're just like, am I missing? Again, the Mandela effect thing. We're like, wait, oh no, that's this other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something else I noticed this time, the jacket. So Cooper's jacket and then Murph's jacket, they're not the same, but they are stinking close. And I did some research on this, and like somebody smarter than me said it's like that she's taken up her father's mantle in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that's just a kind of a cool way to rhyme that, where you don't, again, this is the show not to tell that we like, right? Where it's like instinctively I look at that and go, oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely Coop's daughter. I get it.
It's a subconscious connection that you make, and you don't even realize it. Yeah. That Nolan guy has a bright future in the film industry if he keeps making movies.
It's like he knows
I
what
tell
he's
you
doing.
what, start shortening them up a little bit, Nolan. Gosh.
Stop it.
No.
You know,
we watched the last time we watched Oppenheimer. We almost started it right over again.
Oh my gosh,
That movie does not feel like it's 3 hours
I
long.
love Oppenheimer. Well, Corey, the next one is under 2 hours. Dunkirk is only 106 minutes. So
thank God.
that's going to feel
Dunkirk
like
is
Dunkirk is
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, Dunkirk is great.
it's not relaxing though. You're
You
going
know,
to be
it is-
glad
it's
it's
a
over.
It
typical-
is not relaxing. No.
It's like an 80s, 90s movies. Everything was 90 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
I
That's
know.
just what it was.
Yeah.
Like 90 minutes to 100 minutes. And so now Nolan's 2 hours and 43 minutes.
That's how long it takes to tell the story, Corey. We've talked
I
about
get
this.
very excited when I go to a movie and I see the runtime is less than 2 hours. I get very excited.
Yeah.
And I don't really care how long a movie is.
This is where Justin comes in and says, "What devices did you watch this on, Corey?" And I'm
Yes.
like, "I watched it on my computer. I watched it on a TV. I watched it on my phone."
Yeah, you got.
The reason is because it's 2 hours and 43 minutes.
I had to take my phone into the bathroom to finish it.
Justin has often said that.
Thank you, Pam.
Watch it in pieces, yeah. So I have a random thing when it comes to hair and stuff. Anne Hathaway's hair is so short in this movie, and I'm just like, what is that? What does that say about her personality? Is it the fact, because I think this is interesting, because typically that would make me think she's all business, right? She's not about makeup and hair and all the things. And yet she's the one that proposes that love is this thing that crosses time and dimension and stuff. So I think that's a really interesting juxtaposition between those two things.
I think it was just she was going into space and, hair care products.
There's that. Yeah, I figured it was just one less thing.
Convenience.
For her to worry about. Yeah, she's like, I don't want to worry about my hair. I've got other things to focus on. That's kind of what I thought.
Have you seen the pictures of the astronauts that have long hair and what they look like floating in space, and it's just all out here? I think, maybe we're doing that.
I'm an English major. I overthink everything. So, we're always looking for metaphors and whatnot.
Oh, I am too. Pretty much everything.
Yeah. Like sometimes that's just it is. It just makes sense. It's practical. Anything else we want to talk
try
about?
Watching Police Academy with her.
Oh, so good. I love Police Academy.
Nice. That might be the first time we've mentioned that on the show. Anything else performance before we talk about setting the design and move on?
Not for me, other than in true Nolan fashion, I think everybody in the movie is just firing on all cylinders. I don't think there's a weak link in the whole film. I was glad to see Wes Bentley. I wish Wes Bentley worked more.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, I always forget he's in the movie.
Right, same.
I'm like, oh yeah, there he is. So, setting the design. So, Corey, you recognize the glacier?
I did recognize the glacier. This is in the movie Memento. This is in the movie. I mean, Nolan loves glaciers.
Well, not
Batman
Memento.
Begins.
What's
what one am I thinking?
Insomnia. Yep.
Insomnia.
Yep.
Yes, Insomnia. They go up there to this glacier. It's the same one in Batman Begins.
It is.
It's the same one, and there's one more, Craig.
Oh, I'm trying to think.
I don't know. Nolan. He must have like frequent.
Is the pronunciation though.
He has frequent flyer miles to go to this glacier. I think he's knows some family up there, and so he films up there on purpose.
It's
but
otherworldly, man.
Well, it does look that way. So I always point that out with his movies that he loves glaciers.
Yeah. One thing that I hope this is true, but I read that the small town Americana, there where we see Cooper's farm, was inspired by Clark Kent's upbringing in Man of Steel, which had happened previously, and he was a producer on. So that was a connection, and I hope that's true. I really want it to be true, that was an inspiration for the farm in the Midwest.
The look is very similar. I can see that, yeah.
Yeah. Because I love Man of Steel so much.
I love
but you don't like true romance.
Well, nobody's perfect, like you said. But yeah, I mean, there's most of this stuff. This is another thing we talk about this all the time. Nolan is practical, using practical stuff as much as he can. So we're going to Iceland for other planets. We're not doing this green screen, which, we've talked about this, a lot of these movies. I mean, this is a 10-year-old movie. It holds up like it could have been released yesterday.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The other part of the setting design is that Tars and Case are practical puppets. They're not CGI or anything in there. There's actually a guy behind them that runs those parts.
You just hit on Pam's favorite part of the whole movie.
I love Tarzan Case.
I think they're incredible. I think those two, I love it. So Tars is just the best. And the way they got their humor settings, I love it when they're full humor. I need more people for my human slave army. Like, it's just as incredible when they throw that out there, and he's like, you better dial that humor setting back. And oh my gosh,
it almost upsets me that concept was used in this movie, because it can't be used in any other, like in a franchise. Because I would watch an entire series of movies with those Tars robots in it.
Yeah,
they're so unique. Yeah.
Yeah. And I especially liked the water planet they end up on. That's my favorite sequence in the whole movie, with the big wave coming up over them and everything. And when Tars has to bring Anne Hathaway's character back in,
picks her up,
and then when they have to ride the wave down. Oh, every time I watch it, even though I know what's going to happen, every time I watch it, everything in me is just clenched.
Yeah. Well, and the way the practicality of this robot, these 4 pillars, and I think, how would these even function? I mean, how is this possible? But then you get him in the water and he starts just rolling, like he becomes a wheel, and you're like, okay, that's kind of clever. And then when he's piloting the ship and he opens one hand and then another little hand comes out, and then he's piloting to he's got to connect to the ship while they're spinning. I mean, it's like there's more practicality to it, and you realize, oh my gosh, they had thought this through. These really are functional in how they're working. So
I don't know that Nolan gets enough credit, and his whole team gets enough credit for being the visual futurists that they are, because when he envisions something from the future, it feels real. It feels like where we're headed.
Yeah.
Like Tars is something that I feel like could give somebody an idea.
So something I felt stupid about when I read about this, and hopefully everyone else is caught on it. And if not, maybe I can give some insight here. Is that the Endurance is meant to look like a clock, in that it's circular and has 12 capsules around the outside of it. And I was like, obviously that's what that is, as much as time is a major motif in this film. Of course it's a clock.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I never thought about that. And then, of course, I don't know if you guys talked about this last time, but on that water planet, there's a ticking in the soundtrack that ticks every 1.25 seconds. And I think what we figured out...
One full Earth day.
Every time that ticks, that's one day on Earth.
Isn't that crazy? It's like they did it on purpose.
He doesn't overlook anything.
No. So great.
I knew I'd seen it somewhere. The cylinder that they all float in, where it's a city and it's just rotating, that's actually called an O'Neill cylinder. It's a real, actual space settlement concept from 1976. It's called an O'Neill cylinder.
There you go.
I actually had a book when I was in the 5th grade that had a picture of an O'Neill cylinder in it. So yeah, you're absolutely right. They've been around for a while. The idea has been around for a while.
But that visual was amazing.
Yeah.
When he starts, when he's looking out the window, and then it just goes up the side. It's like, oh my gosh!
Well, they demonstrate that.
It was beautiful.
Yes,
and
to
it goes
demonstrate
right through the center of gravity. That center part would be where there's a little bit of, it'd be like a merry-go-round, right? That center feeling is where it's going to be like a perfect inertia. And once he crossed that, and then he just goes up and breaks the window above him. So it's a great scene.
So another thing we talked about a little bit last time, and I want to make sure we hit on this again, is just how this movie has this really interesting tension between being very heady sci-fi and also love being a major concept of this. And so I'm saying that all that to talk about Murph's watch a little bit. That only reason she keeps that is because of the love for her father, and then that ends up being the key to solving all of this. Which it keeps coming back to that, like this tension between the two, and it's not cheesy. It's somehow you bridge these things, and we talk about Anne Hathaway's character talking about love being this thing that transcends time and space, and like literally that love saves the human race in this film.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why Nolan gets compared a lot to Alfred Hitchcock in that he gets compared to being like a sort of a cold structuralist. Like his movies are so meticulously structured and planned that he plans the life out of them, but I've never found that to be the case. There's an undercurrent of emotion running through every single one of his films, and you're absolutely right that love and human emotions are always at the forefront of what he's doing, whatever that emotion is. And he just happens to also be this sort of master craftsman as well. And I think this is the movie where I first noticed them all working together the best.
Anything else we want to talk about setting design before we move down to characters?
Not for me, other than just again, everything's firing on all cylinders in this movie for me.
Like he's reached the height of his powers. I think we all said, Corey, did you say this too last time? This was your favorite Nolan movie, or right up there? I think Justin joked it was
I think
his top 10 Nolan movies.
This is Nolan's peak. This is where he has peaked.
Interesting.
I haven't seen some of the others. I haven't seen Dunkirk. I haven't seen. Well, I got this. I'm really looking forward to this Homer's Iliad or the Odyssey coming out.
Yeah.
So I watched Tenet. I'm gonna have you come back on the podcast for that one because I don't. I love time travel stuff, and so even on that one, I was like, wait, my head's broken. So I'm gonna need help with that one. But
I will say I understand it enough to enjoy the movie. I don't know that I could explain it. I think Pam's probably the same way, right?
I don't know if I watched it one more time, I probably could.
Yeah. Interstellar for me, if I was going to do a tier list, would be kind of mid-tier for me. Oddly enough, just because I love so many of his movies. Oppenheimer's probably my favorite. I think The Odyssey may take that over, but Oppenheimer so far is my favorite. But I mean, I've been watching his movies since Memento. Saw that in the theater back in 2000. And this one, I think. It's because the reason this one is not as high on my list is not because I don't enjoy it and don't think it's as good as the others. It's harder for me to watch because the future that it predicts is so bleak, but also so bloody likely.
Oh, yeah.
Other than Neil deGrasse Tyson hates the fact that they couldn't solve the blight. He says, "Come on, you can send people into a black hole, but you can't solve you can't solve a blight." But that it just seems so day after tomorrow rather than far-flung future for me. And I think it's just a little uncomfortable for me to watch from that standpoint.
Sure.
I completely agree with you because that I do feel like this is of these movies that show this kind of post-apocalyptic thing. It might not be something as what a blight, but it's something where it becomes this post-apocalyptic type scenario, and it's
barely
created by
habitable.
our own ability. And so that's where I had this other quote I was going to say was where Cooper says, we've always defined ourselves by the ability to overcome the impossible. We count these moments, and then jumps down to, but we lost all that. Perhaps we've forgotten that we're still pioneers and we've barely begun. Our greatest accomplishments can't be behind us, but our destiny above us. So it's like that right there is like what Nolan hits with this movie. This movie is a possible future. It's very possible. I mean, so, but I feel like we have kind of lost our focus on some of these moving up above the stars and focusing on things that are here and stuck. And
yeah, let's go to Mars, man. Let's do it.
Go to Mars.
Like, none of the cool stuff has happened since I've been alive. Like, let's get to it.
Total Recall. Get your ass to Mars.
Recall. I was just thinking that.
That's there you go. There's your mission directive right there.
Get your ass to Mars. That's your mission directive.
We've talked at length about McConaughey and Hathaway a little bit, and even Jessica Chastain a little bit. You know, I think that one person that does not get nearly enough credit is Mackenzie Foy as the young Murph. I think is fantastic in this film. Like, I don't feel like she's acting.
Yeah.
If you had told me that was actually McConaughey's daughter, I would believe you, and they were just hanging out. I would believe you.
Yeah, the chemistry between the two of them was just, you could feel.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful relationship.
So I have to ask, I'm going to just jump in here real fast, Corey, but we talked a little bit about this last time, and I'd like to get Jeff and Pam's take on this. How does Matthew McConaughey's character forget that he has a son? Like, what's up to that? Like, does that feel a little bit weird? Like she's definitely his favorite kid, Murph is.
Yeah.
I will let Pam weigh in on this one since she has a child. I have 2 dogs, and I love them both equally, just in different ways. So I have to assume that's how it is for a parent with children. But I don't want to offend all of the parents that are listening by actually saying that, even though I just did. But I have to assume that was the case. I just always thought that his connection with his son was just different, and we just didn't see it because it wasn't germane to this story. Because he didn't go to bat for his son, in school and everything. My assumption was that it just wasn't on display.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's what I think as well.
He's too good of a father to her to be that dismissive of his son all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and we never get closure with this son. We don't know whether he stayed on that farm or whether he joined Murph after she cracked the code. She's going to spend the next 50 years. I don't think he went back to the silo with her, which means, he and his kid who was not healthy, like they're all gone, because, and even said, the farmers around them were all dying. Next year I'm going to farm their land and their land too and their land too, because they're all disappearing. So the son is gone after 40 years. So, but I just feel like we never got closure on that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Absolutely.
Very fair point. I never thought about it because again, the thrust of the story, I didn't miss it. But I wasn't honed in on it. You're absolutely right, though.
I like that word. It's not germane to the story. I like that. That's a good phrase.
Well, it's just so terrible to say about your son.
German's got nothing to do with this.
Another thing I always forget is that Timothy Chalamet plays the young Tom. And
I had forgotten that too. Yeah,
it's such great casting because like he just like him and Casey Affleck, I see them. Yeah, they could absolutely be related.
Mm-hmm.
It just blends so nicely.
Another character I have to point out because I absolutely love him, Romley. Okay, I can't remember his name. David Gyasi.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I'm just going to highlight because he's the guy who had the most amount of patience and endurance in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
He was on a capsule for 23 years alone while they went down to this planet for an hour and they come back. And to think, okay, I would have given up on you in 10 years and gone to the next one. I mean, I wouldn't have. Look,
I'm out.
You know, you talk about a long time in space by yourself. You're going to go a little crazy. Whether he had a Nintendo or something to help him, I don't know. Because I know he studied the black hole. But for 23 years of your life, just waiting and not going crazy like Matt Damon, you know? Like Matt Damon's character, Dr. Man.
Yeah.
That is commitment and endurance. And he's the character who, with all of this, took the longest time in this mission of all of them. You know, and so I feel like sometimes he gets kind of aside.
That's true.
You know, he's a secondary character, but that is one that you look and go, he has the most resilience of all of them because, you know, they're all fighting for stubborn love and love's leading the way, but he is like persistence and endurance in all of this. So I like his character.
No, I like that because he was definitely alone way longer than Dr. Man was.
Yeah.
Huh. I need to point out Bill Irwin is the voice of TARS, who, if you don't know who Bill Irwin is, like, look him up because he's been in a ton of stuff and you know who he is even if you don't know his name. And I love TARS so much that he's so funny. And it took me out of the film the first couple times I watched it because he doesn't sound as robotic as I was expecting him to. But that dry sense of humor is so great and just adds some much needed levity to this film. Corey's looking him up right now.
I am. He has been in a ton of movies.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that you know from everything. You don't really know his name, but you know him.
I'm trying to think of what's the most famous thing I've seen him in. Like he's done a bunch of things.
Yeah.
He's quite famous.
Okay. Topher Grace is in this movie. That's true too.
Always good too. He's always good.
I'm going to mispronounce his name, but David Oyelowo?
I think it's Aiello.
Oh, say it again for me.
I think it's Aiello.
Aiello?
It's David Aiello.
He is fantastic in everything.
He's one of those guys. Yeah, he and Matt Damon both are two actors. I compare them to Martin Freeman. They make me mad because they make it look so easy.
Yeah.
You never catch them working or even trying. They just are. And you believe every single thing they ever say. And it infuriates me because they make it look so easy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty great.
All right, I figured out.
Josh Stewart voices Case.
Yes.
Yeah,
Josh Stewart.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. It has a surprisingly long resume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bane's second in command.
Oh, yeah.
Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Corey, what were we going to say about Bill Irwin?
He was in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's what it was that I was like, because I could picture his
He's
face.
like her
I was
dad?
like, what? Yeah,
He's
Lulu.
like Cindy Lou Who's dad. That's
Cindy
an easy
Lou Who's dad.
Okay.
And then he was in this show, My Blue Heaven. That's the one I pictured him from, with Steve Martin and
Great movie.
I love that movie. I don't think it did well. Rick Moranis. But that is oh gosh, I'll watch that on any good day.
Based on Henry Hill's life. You knew that, right?
Yes.
Same source
Kind of the
material.
funnier
as Goodfellas.
version of Goodfellas. Yeah.
The alternate version. That's awesome.
I believe in tipping everybody.
It's basically a sequel because Goodfellas ends with Henry Hill going into witness protection. You could start that movie right after you finish Goodfellas and make an evening of it.
Steve Martin. That's so weird.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a Steve Martin. Gosh.
Fantastic.
The shoes are tragic. Oh, I love that movie.
So I had a question about whether or not this fits hero's journey, and I had some thoughts, and I wonder what you guys thought about that. Because I don't know if it's not a singular thing. I think it's a bigger.
I think it could. I think you could make the case for it because he resists it at first as well.
Yeah.
But while it is something that is for the greater good and the good of all humanity, it's also something very personal to him because he's worried about his children's futures. To me, I think it absolutely fits the hero's journey.
Well, we could also apply that to Murph as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was reluctant as a child. She didn't really have a choice, but then, worked toward the greater good there as well.
That's a good point. Yeah, absolutely.
You could argue there are a couple different hero journeys. Murph's has a hero journey, and Coop has a hero journey. Every one of them to get to this point.
Yeah.
I think for him, I gotta admit, I think his hero journey is like the abyss or revelation that he has to, do it is when he drops himself into the black hole.
Yeah,
he realizes I am right here. I'm going to give myself away. I know it. But then when he's in there, he realizes, no. It's me. I'm going to be the miracle. I'm going to have this revelation. It's me. I got to do it and save. And then he becomes the miracle. Never mind. I have a paradox here that the bootstrap paradox here. But it definitely is a thing where he realizes and has that revelation. He's the miracle. So that's his hero's journey to get there.
Dang, you guys crushed that. That was way better than what I had, so I'm not even going to say anything. Thank you. Other than that, I'll say thank you.
It's what we do.
It's what we do.
We Jeff, I think you hinted at this a little earlier. We talked when we get to world building that we talked about how the futurist is very realistic. Like it could be our future world is very grounded in real science. Corey, you've mentioned some of that as well. So it doesn't feel like science fiction as much as it does.
It reminds me a lot. I'm going to reference a really bad movie. It reminds me of the movie Runaway with Tom Selleck from 1984. Are you guys familiar with that?
I know it well. Kirstie Alley and the little robot.
If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Gene Simmons plays the villain in it. It's his second best role ever, next to Never Too Young to Die, where he played a hermaphroditic cross-dressing maniac opposite John Stamos.
That's one. That's two. There you go. Fantastic.
But again, Runaway. It's set in the near future, and it also reminds me a lot of Minority Report because in Minority Report it's set like 60, 70 years in the future, but you're still seeing houses that were built today, and Spielberg was fond of saying, look, we still have houses from the 40s, so 60 years from now these houses are still going to be standing, and that's what I always key in on with Nolan as well. It looks like it could be next year, it could be 30 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't give us a date on this at all, right? They don't say how many years. It's just sometime
in the not too distant future, and another time and place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mike Nelson and his robot friends are stuck in outer space. I had to finish that. Sorry.
Nice. Little MST. Okay. Man, we're already down to final thoughts. This has been fun. So, final thoughts, guys, on Interstellar. And just whoever wants to just jump in.
Watch it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you've already seen it, watch it again.
And I said it was mid-tier Nolan for me, but after this conversation, I may have to rethink that ranking because I'm trying to think of the movies that I would put above it. And there honestly aren't many, but I think the reason that I wouldn't put it higher is just because it's not one I go back to a lot because, again, it just kind of bums me out. But if I was going to rank them in terms of quality, it absolutely would be at or near the top. And thanks for inviting us on to talk about this because it's not one of the Nolan movies that we revisit a lot. We go back to Tenet quite a bit, Oppenheimer obviously all the time. I go back to Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. More Batman Begins than The Dark Knight for the same reason that Batman Begins is just an easier watch.
Well, we've watched Inception a few times.
And Inception, yeah. Inception is another one that we go back to a lot.
Yeah.
But, again, I'm always amazed at how he's able to explain these really complex, difficult concepts in a way that makes sense to, I would say, your average moviegoer. I would say I'm probably of average intelligence at most. But and if I can understand it, anybody can.
Get in there, Corey.
Well, I I got to tell you, this is Nolan's funniest movie because there's some great little quips and lines in here. But you know, this is where I get to saying this is Christopher Nolan's, like, where he's peaking as a director, I think, for me. He, of all his movies, like, this is when he starts his, like, really, Memento, he was a thinker. Inception was a thinker. This one was a thinker. I know Tenet is a major thinker. And so this is where Nolan starts to bring in some things that are, I'm not just going to give you some action. I'm not just going to give you some love story. I'm not just going to give you just a little bit of a tale or a sci-fi adventure. I'm going to give you something that has math, has science, has calculation, and requires you to think a little bit as a moviegoer. And so I think this is where Nolan's peaking is in these types of movies where he can get the audience to come in and, like, explain, show, tell, and do everything to get the audience to come along and extend their thinking, to be very critical and say, holy cow, these are some hard concepts, but I'm going to put them on a very 2.5 hour movie and you're going to love it. And so that's just where Nolan's at with this one. I think for me, this is his greatest movie. I think he's just phenomenal. And so I love this movie. This is definitely a movie I could watch over and over when I have 2.5 hours to do. But yeah.
You made me think of something. He and Ryan Coogler are kind of in the same mode right now, in that they're making these films that are very entertaining, but they're also trying to educate their audiences about how to watch movies.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always appreciated about, and I think this is where that started.
Yeah.
With that, we're starting to see a lot of that from him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had a few things, starting with a question, and I don't necessarily need an answer, but I was struck by, would you sacrifice your family or even just seeing them again for the good of the human race?
Nope.
As just a kind of a moral quandary, right?
Oh, sorry. Should I have
That's
paused
tough.
on that longer? Should I have? Sorry, people. Sorry, listeners. I love you all, but yeah,
No.
I made that a little quick.
Seeing as how I'm sitting across from my wife, I'll say, no, not at all, never, without a doubt. But in all honesty, as somebody on the call who doesn't have kids of his own, it's something I would consider.
Yeah.
It honestly is.
Yeah. I just love that that's a question that we have to wrestle with a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then along with it, just kind of tied to that is, it's always been weird to me that Coop's return isn't a bigger deal to his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And he just kind of comes in almost like he's a stranger in that room at the end. And it's like, why isn't he a bigger deal in that scene? Like, also,
I gotta admit, I feel like she even shuffled him aside a little bit, gives him a little 5-minute reunion, and then says, "You need to go. I got my family
go
here."
find Brant
Like,
down here.
I have a theory about that.
Oh, let's hear
I have a
it.
theory about that. He's been a memory. Though nobody in that room, with the exception of Murph, has any connection to him whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And she hasn't seen him for, 40 years? 40, 60?
Yeah.
I think it's 40 years. Or maybe 60. And so I have no problem with her having her moment with him and then bringing the rest of her family back in, because these are the people she's known for her entire life.
Yeah.
You think about it, it's basically like she had a relationship with this guy for the first, 10, 12 years of her life?
Yeah.
14 years
Yeah.
of her life, then he disappeared. It's basically like a long-lost stranger coming back, that like somebody you went to kindergarten with. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So but I get what you're saying, but that was my take on it. That was their family focusing on the people that had been there for them.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. I just, on an emotional level, that always just strikes me as odd that, like, he's your family too, guys. What do you, okay. That's okay. But
Yeah.
that makes sense. I like that.
Well, and I
What's
guess
that?
the question.
You saved all of humanity? Oh, great. That's great. Can you get outside, please?
Thanks for that.
Well, and was his goal really to save all of humanity or to save Murph? Which is the?
Yeah.
He talks about mankind all the time, but at the same time, he's like, I'm doing. If it wasn't for Murph, he might not have taken some of those chances. He might not have. I don't know. So he did it for Murph. Obviously, not the son.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you know what I'm saying. Sorry, Casey Affleck, you died 40 years ago. Who cares? But like he did it for Murph, and humanity was kind of blessed alongside of it, right? Like they were given an opportunity.
Yeah.
But
Well, I had another thought too, because I think thematically, yeah, we talked about how heavy this movie is, but it's also about hope, about love, and it's also about moving on. And I think that that's a crucial part of this too. Like, he does need to go and move on, and like humanity needs to move on, from Earth, find this new planet. He needs to move on and go be with Bran. Like, I think they're kind of hammering that home a little bit there at the end too. It's like, that part of your life is now over, just like our part of the life on Earth is over.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. And I think that's a very good point, Craig, because as he's walking around this ecosystem that they've built, he's impressed by it, but he doesn't recognize it.
It's not home.
Yeah, that's a very good point. He'll be more at home in that ship looking for Anne Hathaway than he would be trying to assimilate. It's like kind of like the end of Castaway.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to do, and they want to feed him seafood.
Okay, now, and I also got a question about Anne Hathaway. Like, all of a sudden, like, they're in love or something? Because she was in love with this other guy all the way up till the end, and he knew about it. It's not like I didn't see a romantic interest with them, and then all of a sudden,
I didn't
either.
Murph is like, you got to go find her because you love her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, because the other guy's dead, obviously. Like, there's only
open.
two of you left, so you better get out there and help human race. But like, it wasn't necessarily out of love, but of you both went through the same thing, so you'd have the
connection.
connection to do. Yeah. So I didn't see that love story quite as much. Like, he's going to sneak out on a raptor and go save the one he loves.
As great as Nolan's scripts are, there are often in his movies one or two moments like that where it just kind of goes, it kind of skips over, takes an easy way and skips over a couple of things. And I think you're absolutely right there, because I took it to mean like she's the only person they're the only two people who have had this experience and can understand what the other person has gone through. And that's why they needed to find each other.
It's like Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves in Speed.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Sounds right. Hey, before we get out of here, Jeff, Pam, plug your show. Tell us about all the things.
Sure. Pam has helped me to achieve one of my dreams that I've had for several years. I've wanted to do something like this since I started podcasting. What we're doing is, it's called the Marvin Dog Media Audio Advent Calendar. You can just look up the Audio Advent Calendar anywhere where you search for podcasts. We have a teaser episode that's up now, so the feed is live. And the idea is that if you come back every day in December, from December 1st through December 25th, you're going to get a new podcast. It's between 15 and 30 minutes. And the first 18 episodes are Pam and I reviewing each of the Rankin Bass Christmas specials that came out from 1964 through 2001.
You're welcome.
And we watched them, so you don't have to.
Thank you.
After that, you're just going to get us discussing, like, what are our favorite Christmas television episodes, our favorite Christmas movies, what was the favorite Christmas gift you ever received, your favorite Christmas memory, just kind of to get conversation started among people while they're on Christmas break. And we're actually going to release the first episode the day after Thanksgiving. So if you want to go ahead and bookmark the feed, you'll have an episode there, but then there won't be another episode until December 2nd. But after that, you'll have a new episode every day from December 2nd through December 25th. I've had a ball, Pam.
It's
you've
been
had
so
fun,
much
right?
fun. Yes.
It's a lot easier to do when you live with your podcast, your co-host. We have plans to do another one next year, but for Halloween. To do like a kind of a Halloween calendar, 31 days of Halloween.
My favorite season.
And we may do another audio advent calendar next year if this one is well received. But we've been having a lot of fun with it, so I hope everybody will enjoy it. And if you're traveling with your family, we're keeping it G-rated, so you can listen with the entire family. We've tried to stay positive. There are a couple of the Rankin Bass specials that really just don't. How should I put this? They're not good. They're awful. Nestor the Long-Eared Christmas Donkey. If you're not familiar, go look it up, and then you're welcome, because we watched it so you literally never have to.
Yes.
But that's the audio advent calendar, and again, you can find it if you can't find it through your podcatcher, you can go to marvindogmedia.com, and there's a link there to the page that houses all the episodes.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, we'll have some stuff in the show notes about that. And I love the bite-size element of that, the 15 to 30-minute thing. I think that's fantastic. It makes it really easy to check out a new episode every day. So I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love it. Gosh.
So, yeah, let's get out of here. And as we do, we just want to say Thank you to everybody for listening. If you want to connect with us, you can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook. Email us at readingbetweenreels@gmail.com, or you can use the SpeakPipe app on our website. And if you enjoyed the show, please like, follow, subscribe, all the things. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. And one last thing, our next episode will be a review of Dunkirk, which Corey has not seen yet.
I've not seen
Send us an email or voicemail about your favorite moments from Dunkirk, and we'll share it on the next episode.